I am recording in progress. Welcome, stars of stage and screen.
Stars of stage and screen. Boabby, 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 Boabby.
I am recording in progress. Welcome, stars of stage and screen.
Stars of stage and screen. Boabby, Boabby.
Stars of stage and screen. Boabby.
Behind the bar at the Klansman, he's the star of the show.
Stars of stage and screen. Boabby.
With a wit so sharp and keen.
Stars of stage and screen. Boabby.
Serving up pints to the stars of stage and screen.
Stars of stage and screen. Boabby.
Oh, Boabby, Boabby, you're the king of the bar.
Oh, stars of stage and screen. Boabby.
From Jack and Victor to the lassies and the lads.
Stars of stage and screen.
Boabby, oh Boabby, the best barman we've had.
Welcome to Space Station USB 3:7. No relation, no relation.
At the furious edge of the trouble belt, I am 2612626.
And I am 1561414. We are holographic 2-pack. Abbas and Ace of Base.
Scanning radio waves of the ether.
We went to Earth
No, really.
and grabbed these DVDs of Scottish TV show Still Game.
What is a Boabby? The Earthlings call us spoilers.
Tonight, stars of strange and stage and screen, number unknown.
Another corner of the universe unlocked.
You are welcome.
Dot 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 dash dash dot 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 dash dash dot dot dash dash dot dash dot dot
Dash dot dash dot dot dash dot 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 dash dot dash dash dash.
dot
So
dot dot
today we're looking
dot 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 dash dot dot dash 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 dot dot.
today we're looking at Robert Boabby Taylor, who is a character from the TV show Still Game, working as the landlord of the Klansman public bar in Craiglang. What do we know about Boabby?
We know he's a man of average height. Excuse me. He has light skin with brown hair, which he sports as a mullet. He tends to be casually dressed. In his younger days, he had thin sideburns and a pencil mustache. His left ear also had an earring.
And now he has light blondish grey hair and wears glasses.
And
Bobby
more
is not.
shortened.
Bobby is not a believer in the phrase "the customer is always right."
He certainly isn't, and he usually gives sarcastic comments with his pints, although the regulars give him some back chat if he gets too big for his Boabby.
He always has a new nickname for Jack and Victor when they come in the pub, and they ask him for 2 swift pints, you prick.
Boabby has not had much luck with women. A potential romance for Boabby was a young woman named Margot, but he blew it when he slapped her backside, causing her to beat him up. He also later fought Steve the Bucky over Stacy, the girl who worked in the pizza shop. Neither man was successful, as they were both battered by Stacy's father, the boxer Jim Watt.
Not much is known about Boabby's early life, but he has worked in the Klansman since he was 18, since the early 80s.
Sometime either before or after this, or between this, he also worked as a bouncer, and met many celebrities such as Midge Ure, Amy McDonald, and Kurt Cobain.
In the mid-1990s, Boabby had to go out being a porn star. His alter ego is Troy the Gardener. He has been telling naked women that the lawnmower was not working, and then he had sex with them.
Bobby tried his best to keep the secret from everyone else, but his tape, mysteriously labelled Bobby's, was later discovered by Tam Mullen, who found it in the stockroom.
I used to call this old news as she had seen the tape long ago.
At some point, Boabby became the landlord of the Klansman. He laments how his pub is not popular with young couples, although this is due to his sarcastic nature and the fact his pub is not glamorous.
He tried to make his pub more popular by holding theme nights, such as a pub quiz, Scampi, and a tarot night.
Scampi and tarot together.
How would we know?
The Klansman was sold from under Boabby by the brewery. I can't speak today. As a result, the Klansman was set to be closed down and demolished to make way for cottages. It turns out that the property developer was the son of Pete the Jakey. And hence, the pub was not demolished. Instead, the pub was renamed Jenny's in honour of Jenny Turnbull, the mother of the property developer, Tinker Turnbull.
Tinker. He still works there. although he's taunted by Stevie for working in a pub that does not belong to him. In later years, as Bobby's regular elder customers gradually passed away, he continued to serve the Klansman until his bogging death on the toilet from pleasuring himself.
That was discovered in the final farewell show. He's
Um,
had a long and storied life, it seems.
yeah, what do you know
Yes.
about Boabby?
I know that he has a love-hate relationship with the regulars. I didn't know anything about him prior to this, and I've never seen this show prior to this. But I like his demeanor and I like his ways.
He's played by an actor called Gavin Mitchell, and in March 2016, he's such a big fan of David Bowie that when the Glasgow Barrowlands Hall of Fame decided to make Bowie give an award, it was Robert Boabby Taylor who accepted the award on David Bowie's behalf.
Nice. There's a connection for our stars of stage and screen.
What's that one?
David Bowie.
Cindy Dondler.
Yes, Philip Jeffries.
Let's get right to it. Some content for Boabby. Now, I love Still Game, and Boabby is one of my favorite characters. But it's a very funny show, very silly, and without a doubt, Boabby is one of the centerpieces. So, clip 1, season 8. So I think Still Game ran for like 9 seasons, and it was on for about 3 or 4 seasons, and then it went away, and then it came back for the last few. They originally started off as characters in a sketch show, and Limmy's talked about a lot of their sketches. He's done a lot of clips where he's looked back at old sketches with Jack and Victor, the first two the characters, and it was developed.
Because one of them is a man dressed as an old man, isn't it?
They all are. Like almost none of
Really?
them are. Yes, it was called Chewing the Fat, and like almost all of them are actually in their like 30s when they started. Like this is Isa, the one that the really nosy neighbor. She was only in her 30s when they started. I think that the main two. So Boabby is one of the rare ones that is actually like more or less his age, but this is the actual crew.
Nice.
So like they're all like Tam looks like they genuinely, I mean, you can tell they're not quite as old as they're playing, but you wouldn't think they were like 40 years younger than the characters they're playing because they're all in their 70s, the cast. Sorry,
yeah,
characters.
There was only one that was particularly noticeable as being older from the clips that I saw. Maybe they were just low quality.
But this is the picture of them as aged up, but this is what they really look like.
Nice.
Obviously you can't see any of this as audio viewers, or maybe you can.
Maybe I'll put some pictures on.
Maybe. So it was originally a sketch show, and then they turned it into a play, and then that was really successful, and they added a Fringe, and then that turned into I think a BBC Scotland show, and then it went to BBC Two, and then it eventually went to BBC One. So it was a real success story.
Had its day.
It only finished in like 2018 or something like that, 2019.
Oh, nice. Why is he called Boabby?
It's just his pronunciation of Boabby.
I see.
Or Boabby. So we're looking at season 8, episode 1, Fly Fishing, which is from 2018. Boabby is in the Klansman and he's trying to turn the pub into a fancy gastropub. So he's got his tea towel over his shoulder and he's serving a fancy like family that's in. In the corner, Jack and Victor, the two old timers with their mates, are playing cards, and Boabby's, and this reminded me of the Moore's Family Feedback. Actually, it's a very similar setup in some way. So Boabby's trying to do his best to be like on his best behavior. He goes, "There you go, sir. There's your salt. There's your pepper." In the corner, Jack. I think it's Victor actually says, "I've got a full house." He leaps to his seats and he starts doing the thrust in his fist motion, and Jack throws the cards down and he says, "You jammy bastard." Boabby's trying to continue serve the wee family. Someone at the table next to one of the old timers shouts, "You wanker." Bobby has had enough, so he steams over to the old timers table. "I'm not going to tell you again," he seethes. "Keep it down." Winston inquires, "What's the matter with you?" And Boabby says, "You're annoying my customers." "Oh, we're your bloody customers," says Winston. And Boabby gives his standard Clint Eastwood style stare. "Customers buy drinks. You've been nursing those since you came in," says Boabby. Yeah, can he play cards steaming, says Jack. Oh, you got to remain focused. I'll focus you right out of the door, says Boabby. Boabby isn't having none of it. Now, so this is one of the traits of Civil Game where they're very picky about banter. They make fun of Boabby's bad banter. And he says, oh, that's garbage patter. Victor says, I focus you out the door. You can't just take a word and slap it in the sentence and pass that off as banter. You've got to be clever with it. For instance, Jack pips in, I'll focus my boot on your arse. Winston flips the middle finger and says, focus on that, you old duffer. They all had a good old laugh at Boabby. Victor says it's crude, but still effective. One of the other barflies, Larry maybe, says, away and take a flying focus to yourself. They all laugh before agreeing that that does not work as patter either. Boabby Pete pipes up, I could lose my license. You shouldn't be playing cards in here.
Cards.
Card,
He says like
cards.
cards.
You shouldn't be playing cards in here. And Winston points out that they are cards, not cards. Lots of poor word discussions in Still Game.
He says something like cards is what you play cards with.
It makes no sense. Just keep it down, Boabby demands. Just then, a lad on a mobile scooter comes in beeping. What do you say, John? He says, what do you say? This is the bollocks. They all agree. Victor suggests that it is the hairy bollocks. Jack says it is the cotton bollocks, which makes no sense, but they all laugh. Tam inspects it. Now, one of Tam's traits is Tam's really like a tight arse, and he's always trying to get something for nothing. He says, oh, how much it cost you? Joey, his name is not John, says, it's brand new today. Never you mind how much it costs, you nosy bastard. Give me a show, says Tam. Get lost. That's that man's transport, says Winston. Come on, gears a shot, says Tam. Tam approaches, pushes Joe. Joe backs his motor into the people having the fancy posh table. That is enough for Boabby. He says, right, get out, ya bard. Now, if I remember this right, if this is the right clip, they then find a way to sneak into Boabby's bar, to the room above, and they are able to drill a hole in the floor, and they put a fishing rod down, and they start fishing and catching bottles of liquor and pulling it up, and they just spend the whole night getting wasted in the flat above Boabby's pub.
Excellent. I was going to ask whether he stuck to his word or whether he was a kind of, he goes back on it after half an hour kind of character.
He does go back on it a lot, but in this episode, I think the joke is that they are banned for a little while. I think it's the right one. I might be wrong though. I might be wrong. Oh yeah. Bobby turns his pub into 20 yuppie bars so the pensioners decide to face back. It involves a takeover of Boabby's flat to help homeless Winston. And essentially, yeah, they do. It's very funny. They're fishing through the roof and trying to catch different things. But and they're yeah, great episode.
Nice. What I like, or what I've noticed about this character, not to bring everything back to The Simpsons, but it's Moe and Groundskeeper Willie combined into one character with obviously the Scottish helps with Groundskeeper Willie, but also just sort of the not fits of rage as intensely, I would say, but sort of easily snappable and sort of gruff and sort of joyless in a way.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Bobby's kind of like, he's definitely a nice guy. And they all take the piss out of him and take advantage of him. But they've got a pretty good relationship with everyone.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of like meaningless threats where everybody's going to be friends by the end anyway, or like empty threats where he sort of knows he's not barring these people permanently. He knows that's not going to be in his head in the moment. He might think that he means it, but it will be. He knows deep down that they will be back.
He knows deep down they will be back. That is correct. Clip
so
two.
I do like a foil. Have we looked at a foil yet? We tend to look at the actual comedy character, like not the one that's being. Oh, I don't know. Actually, Jared and Jonah.
Yeah. Actually, we do. Well, Jonah's the hero, but yes, we do look at somebody who causes the trouble and is the foil, and maybe we have a hankering for those side characters that are a little bit trouble, a little bit cheeky.
Yes. I also noted that he is no nonsense, a la Loretta Brown.
He is no nonsense, but he unfortunately, by being no nonsense, that means he brings a lot of nonsense to his door.
Yes.
I like clip
Straight
two.
man and boosty villain. Scottish
Exactly.
villain.
Clip two, season five, episode four. So this is Hard Nuts. This is from 2006. So it did run for a long time, but like I said, I had a long gap in the middle. But because they were all more or less aged up, didn't really matter.
Yeah, they
So
just aged correctly.
aged correctly. Well, even by the time they were finishing, they were still 25 years younger than the characters they were going to play, which was only like 5 or 6 years ago anyway. And they've done a few things from it, but spoiler, they do in the main characters at the end, which is, kind of it has a good finishing point. But I believe they did a couple of live shows after, just to wrap it up. Because it's kind of interesting because they would do the TV shows, but then they do live shows that kind of all fit into the same kind of like
Story.
yeah, it was a show that had some continuity. So for example, Winston lost his leg at one point. They had to chop his leg off, and he just obviously just didn't have a leg then for and occasionally that was part of the story, and a lot of times it just wasn't mentioned. But
Nice.
yeah, there was some Doctor Who. Sylvester McCoy was in one. In fact, there was quite a lot of Scottish celebrities. Robbie Coltrane was a bus driver in one. Yeah, Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Who. Sylvester McCoy played a recluse in one episode.
Nice.
Yeah, fun times.
All the
Hardness.
Scots.
Oh,
No Susan Boyle, no Onion.
oh, aye. He was never good to him the night.
That would
So,
he fit right into this world though.
oh, absolutely. Boabby with Onion on his shoulder would be absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Isn't that right, Onion?
Aye. Go
So the
through the
cam
window.
so they're in the Klansman, and the cameraman, there's a cameraman and a camera crew in there, and they're filming a show called Britain's Hardest Boozers, I think. That Boabby has kind of said that his pub wants to be on it. And the cameraman leans into Boabby and says, "What's happening, mate?" "What do you mean?" asked Bobby sheepishly. "Well, it's not exactly kicking off in here, is it?" The cameraman turns to the Klansman. "It's pretty quiet." "Oh, it never does until 8 o'clock," he shouts. He looks at the clock.
I did know. I don't know why he just that, but I liked it.
Because he set up the young lads, they call them Neds, right? The Scally lads. He set them up at
Oh, them to
the
come in.
well, just to be at the drinks at the Sig machine, right? And he says at 8 o'clock, and they look, and the Scally, that's the sign for the Scally lad to do his bit. The
I
Ned.
see.
So the Ned looks at him and he goes, "Oh," he drops a glass on the floor. And Bobby like gives him the face. "Oh, for Christ's sake." He points at them and shouts, "I've warned ye wee thugs before. Watch out." The camera moves around him, and it shows that we are filming Britain's hardest pubs. Um, uh, "Or what?" says the Scally. "Or what?" says fake angry old Boabby, and grabs a pool cue and runs at them. They run out the door. Straight
I
after
did
that.
like I like that as they run out the door, and I didn't know if this was on purpose or just sort of to do with filming on a set like that kind of studio. But they have to stop to let the old Jack and Victor.
Yeah, yeah.
They have to stop in the doorway to let them in. So everybody's just sort of bunched in the doorway at the same time, and they have to. So they go from running to just sort of like slowly siding out of the door, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. So yeah, Jack and Victor walk in. They're the two main characters. They go and they're putting on the big like gangster walk, and they say, "Have the McGill's been in?" Bobby says,
Yes.
"No," and I'm no expecting him. And they both do wild, wild eyes. "Well, we know be needing these then," and they pull out two swords and then like uncomfortably lay them on the bar because there's no room for them. Then Winston tries to aggravate some people. And then Tam, he's the one that's always trying to get somewhere free, but Bobby gives Tam a pint and he gives 180. Tam points to his nose and says, take out of here. And they argue for a little bit, and Boabby eventually has to give up from getting the money off Tam. Tam just managed to take advantage of him. And then Naveed, the shop owner, comes in, who doesn't drink at all. We never really see him in the Klansman, but I think there's been some trouble at home. So Naveed comes in and asks for a whiskey. And he gives him the whiskey, and he's immediately drunk. He gets up on the table and starts singing and dancing. And then his wife, Mina, comes in. The joke is we never see Mina's face. And she never speaks English. I think it's Punjab she's speaking. And she just comes in and she punches him in the nuts and carries him out. These clips go on for a little while, but it's
Yeah,
a fun.
this is This is the longest one. But I like it. It sets up the environment nicely. Makes a lot more sense now. I know that they were. I think I just didn't grasp it when I watched these clips twice, and then I just didn't grasp what was going on with the hardest pubs thing. I thought maybe again because I've not seen this program. Maybe there was a film crew sort of always there, and it was like a
Like
show
The
being
Office.
filmed in kind of, but from if someone else was filming
All right,
the
yeah.
cameraman of The Office. So it makes more sense that everybody was acting. Like I did wonder why. I thought the old guys with the swords at this point, having only seen like one clip before this, was just what they do. And then it was as we went on later that I was like, oh, this isn't what they do. This is them trying to look. And
Yeah,
I do like how long them putting the swords down and on the glasses and all the glasses sort of like tipping and like not even like falling and smashing, just sort of wobbling.
they
I
do.
enjoyed that a lot.
They do move at a good pace, not too fast style game. I do like it's kind of it's got the gentle pace, but it's still got a little bit of an edge to it. It's not some soppy Mrs. Brown's Boys. It's silly enough.
Yeah, it doesn't need like huge set pieces and stuff is what I've realized. Like these swords are probably one of the bigger set
Oh,
pieces.
absolutely. It's just character
Whereas
character stuff.
whereas at the initial time of watching this, it didn't really seem out of place because I
Oh, it's
hadn't seen
brilliant.
anything prior to
Characters
this. But
characters are brilliant. Tam and Winston, even like secondary characters. Isa, who we don't really see at all in this, she's brilliant.
is she the one with the cake?
Yeah, she's like she's always she knows everything. She's always sticking her nose in, and yeah.
It's a good setup. It fits well into our little Stars of Stage and Scream world, like kind of obviously like we just said, with different, just solid like 8 or 9 solid characters with different traits who don't have to be front and center of every episode, but they're there if you sort of need to use them. Like I imagine there's episodes where Bobby just doesn't do a lot and he's just serving at the bar.
Yeah, this whole episodes where Boabby's not really in it. They don't really go in the pub very much. They go to Canada in a couple of episodes to visit Jack's son.
Nice. But yeah, I can see them sort of some episodes they'll have a big role, some episodes they could just be glorified extras essentially.
Aye.
It's
Whenever
also quite
Boabby is not on
Springfieldy.
screen, everybody has to be asking, where is Boabby?
Exactly. Yeah, I like it. I like the world building. I did like this Naveed character coming in and asking. He asks for like something wrong, doesn't he? Like a super strong whiskey or something.
Yeah, no,
And then he
Naveed's
tells
never
him,
in the Klansman. This is like probably one of the 1 or 2 times we ever see him because he has a corner shop, and that's one of the other set places where they have quite a few conversations. But I would say that Jack and Victor's apartment and the pub is where a good chunk of the episodes go. But I would certainly not be against doing a still game podcast. I think there is much, much to be done, and
yeah,
as far as
I
I
would
know,
like
it's
to
not
watch
been
it.
done.
I would enjoy to watch it. I'm going to settle into this show. I think it seems
Delightful.
comforting.
Oh, it's a last of the summer wine type, but with a little bit more cheek.
Last of the summer limmies.
The director comes in, Bobby, this is the tamest pub we've ever filmed in. So I think the setup is that they'd already tried once, and basically they told Bobby that nothing was happening in this pub, even though it's on like one of the roughest. So it's set in an imaginary like rough part of Glasgow called Craiglang, and like they've come down to see this pub, and like they've tried for however long, and just nothing's happened. It's just old people drinking. So this is why Boabby's got everybody to kind of like act up, and so the lad at the end who comes in, the big Kev guy who comes in, he's and he's supposed to have his mate with him, right? And that's the joke of this clip. So the director comes to Boabby and says, "This is the tamest pub we've ever filmed, and all you've done is wasted my time. 2 pensioners with swords, a guy who froze on camera, a sissy argument about who's paying for a pint, and a woman carrying a man who's one drink out of a pub. You don't qualify, mate." Boabby goes to plan B. He says, "Jack," he nods, and Jack taps on the window. In walks a man who looks like a hard nut. Big Kev. "A pint of heavy," he says. This fella's been back in a few times. I think the joke is he's gay, and so whenever they need a gay character, this fella comes in, but they don't mention that in this.
Yeah.
But that's like the running those things like that's his trait.
Nice. Just another recurring member of the village.
He's just not in it very often. He's only in a few episodes. But Boabby goes to plan B. In walks the hard nut man. He pint of heavy. He says, heavy's off. You want something else? What sort of dump is this with no heavy? I'll tell you what sort of dump this is, says Boabby. It's sort of the dump. When the heavy is off, you have something else unless you've a problem, you prick. No problem, mate, says Hardnut. I don't want any trouble. Bobby turns and he's picking something up when another chap walks in who Boabby is expecting to be the mate of Hardnut. Lager, he shouts. Bobby says, I'm busy. What? Are you deaf? Shouts Bobby angrily. Are you talking to me, you dick? Says friend. Jesus, not another one. It's a great when he rolls his eyes. Jesus, not another one. He says, are you talking to me, you dick? Why don't you stand there? Why don't you stand there like a good wee lassie until I'm ready to serve you, you walloper? Outside, says the lad. Bobby, outside, you dick. And Bobby gives this face like, oh, this is brilliant. This is exactly what we need. And Bobby does the face, better fake than he thought. Okay, then let's walk, says Boabby. Or is it Nick Cave? Boabby steams out, followed by the cameras. Tam talks to Big Lad. He says, your pal's good, eh? My pal couldn't he make it? His sister's up in the hospital. So who, says Tam as he realizes. Bobby goes out and he quietly says to the guy, that's dynamite. I'll punch you in the guts and you go down like a sack of spuds. What? Says the angry lad. Bobby says, right, I've warned you not to come a hard man in my show. He punches the lad's guts, which are made of iron. Bobby's hand is knackered. He looks at the man. He looks at the man and realizes, no, he puts his hands up. Wait. There's a funny sound as Bobby gets punched into the chops and goes down like a sack of spuds.
Excellent. It has the sort of Britishness of Jonah. Well, not British, United Kingdomness of
both
Jonah.
Scottish, both Jonah and Boabby is from Scotland, of course.
Yes. I do like the words are what are sort of reminding me of it, like you walloper, etc.
Yeah.
Like the sort of old nonsense insults that we don't have a lot of anymore.
Not since they did away with them.
Exactly. I think that is adds to the charm quite a lot. This is just a traditional comedy setup, but when it's done like this, it works beautifully. The whole one is in on it, one is not.
One is in on it. It's classic. That's still game all over. I would say the plots are not particularly mind-blowing, nor are the characters, but when put together with the right kind of banter and the right kind of spirit, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm still game. The world's second best still game podcast.
Exactly, until it is firmly put in its place in 2028.
So, yeah, what do you make of that? Where it was, as you said, it was the old switcheroo. One person thought one thing, another thought another, with comedic effect.
I'm still game. No, I think the overall point is it's the same with The Office. I suppose Silicon Valley, Buffy, Beano, Family Guy go for big, larger-than-life stuff, but we've got The Office, and, well, you can also put Twin Peaks into the first category. But it also would
everyday weirdness.
Yeah, but in sort of, this would be a nice little set of characters to have in Twin Peaks as a icebreaker, or like a palate cleanser between scenes or episodes, instead of the Roadhouse stuff at the end of the return where there's like a guest singer every week.
Oh, yeah.
They should have filled it with maybe 4 characters like this and just done like a cold end to
let's do that. When we do our Twin Peaks podcast, every 4th episode will be interspersed. The 5th episode will be a still game episode to see how it fits into the narrative.
Yes, indeed.
It can be called 20%. It can be called 80% Peaks, 20% still game.
Yes. What a great title. What a long title. Yeah, like it's setting up some, like, you know where it's going as it's happening, but you don't mind. Like, nothing needs to be sort of turned on its head.
You don't really know, though, right? Once you get the idea that you can guess what the joke is, but once you get the idea, when that other lad comes in, you're still kind of sort of playing along, although the joke is somewhat telegraphed, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not one of those times that you mind, like, because the lead up to the punchline is also funny. It's not just trying to get to the punchline.
Do you remember that TV show where there's the two brothers and they're chandelier men?
Oh yeah, the Flanders.
They climb up the wrong ladder and the wrong chandelier drops onto the floor.
Yes, through the bar.
through the bar. He falls through the bar onto a chandelier, and Boabby says, "Oh, go down like a sack of spuds." So it's a good long sketch. It builds up Boabby, etc. But we get to see another side of Boabby, and we get to introduce to Isa, who we've not come across yet. Clip 3, Heavy Petting, Season 7, Episode 5, November 2016. Isa enters the bar. Isa, her name's Isa, yeah, that's right. Enters the bar. Come on, Boabby. She uncovers some cake. I'm needing a guinea pig of pure light. The competition's the morrow. Bobby is not impressed.
Right.
I'm not really a cakey. I'm more of a savory-y. Help us out, Bobby. Do you not want us to beat that gloating big bugger? Bobby with trepidation tries the cake, and there's some great facial acting here from Gav.
Yes. The whole
Spot
thing
on.
is very silly.
I think we did a Still Game podcast, we would have no trouble in getting all of the cast of Still Game on to talk about Still Game.
Excellent. Let's work on it. Should have brought Bobby in for the Bobby cast.
Oh, Boabby.
David Bobby.
He does this. There's a thing on YouTube which is a short thing where he's obviously been asked to like say Merry Christmas in Boabby character, but he comes in too hard, and you can see halfway through he realizes he's gone too Boabby, so he's actually coming across as really aggressive, and he really has to like kind of it down. So he has to do like a smile at the end, and then good on you. He does like 10 like different versions of like I'm all right really at the end,
Yeah.
but
It's not really me.
it's not. Oh, Boabby.
Yeah, there's some great face work in this. It's
That's the
very,
one.
very traditional British sitcom.
I would
But
have that on a tea towel or a t-shirt any day of the week,
or a teacup.
just with the word "Still Game" written around Boabby's face.
Yes, I like that they didn't normally as well. It would be in this trope. It would be hidden better. Like he does a really bad job of. He doesn't. I would say he doesn't try really to make it look like he's not
No,
enjoying it.
nobody would accuse Still Game of subtlety.
Oh, you didn't finish the details of the clip.
So Boabby looks on. Isa looks on as Boabby does the face. He tries it slowly and he says, "It seems a bit dry." He sprays. Oh no, the term Isa says, "Is it a bit dry?" And he sprays the soda water thing directly into his mouth, and the crowd go bonkers. He just keeps spraying. "Too dry?" asked Isa. "A wee bit," says Boabby in a comedically high-pitched voice.
Yeah, I did. Like I thought maybe, given with that 8 o'clock thing that I got wrong, and the way he said a wee bit in this, he occasionally just did a funny voice for some of his lines.
Nope, one
And
off.
that was a trait. 2 off. Yeah, he sprays that soda water for ages. I like that it covers all the bases of comedy. It covers like you said, like the unfunny that makes things funny, like Partridge, where the comedy is from the fact that he's not really saying anything that's particularly funny. Scottish is always just going to work anyway.
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
Geordie.
and Australian. And yeah, but I like that they're not afraid to go for just flat out. This cake's dry, so this guy's going to spray soda water into his mouth for like 30 straight seconds. Really, really overdo it.
Very good, yeah. It's not quite Stuart Lee munching on a cracker for 15 minutes, but it's up there.
It's definitely up there.
Very, very good. So she does have a cake competition in the end, and then all kind of shenanigans go on, but I don't remember who wins.
No, Isa. Yeah, I like that he's not rude, but he's not very good at hiding his truth either.
No, he's not. But Isa knows that. She's no fool, as we'll find out soon.
Oh yeah, maybe she asked him because she knew he would give a genuine response. Maybe that's one of his
No, I think
superpowers.
she tried a lot of people and nobody would eat it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Boabby's he is one of the nicest, right? That's he's got a heart of gold, has Boabby.
Yes.
Yeah. So clip 4.
Certainly does. He might be the nicest one we've looked at so far, to be honest.
We do see Boabby out and about. In fact, I think the gastropub one, if I can remember, he goes on a bike ride for ages and he comes across essentially a like a posh version of him, which is another comedy trope, right? So he goes to the next village, like, and it's like a posh little village, and he goes into a Klansman style bar, and everything's fantastic. It's like perfect, and the guy behind the bar is basically like a happier version of Boabby, and so Boabby wants to come back and make his pub into like Uncle Mo's family feedback, which just does not work at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I don't mind that trope either. Again, tropes are fine if they are done
Charming.
even mediocrely.
Oh yeah. A pint.
Classic,
Clip four.
classics for a reason.
I'm not sure what episode is this from because it's only a very short bit, and it exemplifies Tam's take on things. A pint, Tam asks Boabby. They're in the Klansman. I'll have another pint, please. Oh no, this is not the one with the shotgun. This is Troy the gardener. So a pint, Tam. Bobby asks. They're in the Klansman. Yeah, I'll have another pint, please, Troy, says Tam. They all freeze when he realizes what he said. Bobby turns with menacing eyebrows. The crowd laughs hard. What did you call me? He asks. Tam looks up innocently. Oh, Bobby, he says. No, you didn't. You called me Troy, not Bobby. Tam laughs. Oh, did I? Boabby realizes his eyes go wide and he dashes for the basement. He runs back up and demands of Tam, "Where's my tape?" "What tape?" says Tam. "My porn tape." Then he catches himself and grabs Tam and pulls him close and says quietly, "My porn tape." "Shub's got it," says Tam. Isa enters. Boabby gives a big shit-eating grin. "Right, Isa." He does a good Boabby does a great painful smile, like Mo, right?
Yeah, it's very. I don't want to keep doing the Simpsons comparison, but it is very, very Mo. Maybe not as sad, but
No, he's not as sad. Boabby's not a sad character generally. He's kind of not unhappy with his lot. He's kind of a little bit downtrodden, but he's not the world weary barman. He's actually pretty chipper most of the time.
he seems to do a good job as well
Oh, he
at
takes pride in
maintaining.
his pub, does Boabby.
Yeah, that's where the Willie hybrid comes in, I think, because he's more. Willie is also sort of confident in himself and does a decent job.
Yeah, yeah. Sheep
He's got
Boabby. Boabby, you're going to have to look at you'll have to look after the bar for half an hour, darling, he says to Isa. He smiles and looks at Tam, and he grabs Tam by the collar and escorts him from the bar. "Come on," says Boabby.
Yeah, this was another one where the second time I watched it, it made a lot more sense. The first time I thought I didn't understand what the sort of thing was going on. And I like that it just looked like he just ran out of the room because he didn't like what was going on. But then yeah, the second time, once I had more context for what was going on, it made
For
complete
this
sense.
content, context for this content.
Yes, this again another one of those things where somebody nice has like a mysterious wild past that they've hidden.
Yeah, they do a
Which
good
is
version of that on Community with what's her name?
Britta, Shirley.
Shirley turns out to have been a local at a bar they go to, and she's trying to hide it because she had a rough few years, she says, where she was a bit wild, and you know, they kind of make
Yeah,
fun of her, but it was a serious thing, unlike this, which is all played for laugh.
yeah. She also bullied Jeff, didn't she?
She did. That was a good episode.
Yeah, all played for laughs. All very sort of like low stakes sort of plots. From what I'm seeing, like there's not an ultimate sort of like there's nothing really in it for him other than his own personal stakes. It's not going to cost him his job. It's not going to change anything about his life. He just doesn't want it. That didn't work.
No, it did not. I do think you actually get to see a little clip of Boabby in action, but I couldn't find it.
They did a similar thing on Friends as well with Phoebe, where it turned out it was a sister pretending to be her, but
uh,
you sort of hear the video. I imagine that would be the same with the Boabby thing, like you'd see somebody watching, just sort of like a clip.
yeah, I think you see a young Boabby walk in, like strutting, and then
Yeah.
obviously we don't see the full-on world America, Team America
No,
style action.
I like the darkness in his facial expression though when he turns around and realizes that he's been called Troy. Is and the fear in the patron's eyes after he said it because it looks like a genuine mistake.
It does.
It doesn't look like he's done it to irritate Boabby.
Gavin Mitchell, he's got a heck of of a facial range. I don't think any of this stuff is actually in. Oh, Boabby.
Oh,
So
Boabby.
anyway, so it turns out later that yeah, I think it passes around a bit, and then Isa just says like she'd known about it for like 10 years or whatever, but she knows
Right.
everything.
She's
Clip
the one
five.
who's trying to. Is he trying to hide it from her
Uh,
specifically, or just?
Well, she came in and he sometimes he lets her look after the bar, so that's what happens. He lets her look after the bar while he goes out. He goes out and finds. But yeah, I don't think he's specifically gonna hide it from Isa, but he's not. He wants to hide it from everybody.
Yes, but alas, he is too late.
Alas, it's too late. Clip five. Boabby is behind the bar. This is great. What's great? Asks Jack. You've got to tell him, put him in the picture. You could save this pub. How? Asks Jack. So I can't remember what episode this is from, but the episode essentially is the one we talked about earlier, where basically the a developer comes in and he's going to knock down the Klansmen and build some cottages, and it turns out that he's the illegitimate son of the boozer, the barfly boozer, like the real hard alky, not the ones that actually out, but the one that ends up sleeping under a bridge and is so homeless. And I actually think he dies in one episode, like towards the end. He might die in this episode.
I
This might
see.
be the one. But his son in the end decides to name the pub after his mother. And I think the joke is that they all at some point had a dalliance with this young lady, and none of the and they none of them know that in a Mamma Mia style scenario, any of them could actually be his father. And
Nice,
I think that's the joke of this particular episode.
nice. Yeah.
But anyway, he says, you got to tell him, Jack. You've got to put him in the picture. You could save this pub. How? Asks Jack, smiling happy. What heartless bastard would pull down his old man's local? Victor is unhappy with this. Nah, Bobby, we need time to figure out how to broach this. You've got no time. We'll be rubble by Friday. You've got to sort it out. You owe me. How do we owe you? Bobby, I've worked here since I was 18, putting up with your shite and your patter. Jack looks down. Boabby continues, I've been the butt of your joke, feeding you and waiting on you, looking after you, every word, serving you. The old barfly enters. Lager, Bobby. Shut your hole, you dick, retorts Boabby. The crowd loves it.
Yes, I also liked that. That was very Mo. That sort of hit and miss relationship where he can't help but be rude to these people because he sees them so much. Like he doesn't mind them, but he can't help but yeah, just be rude to them. Is this the first time you find out that he's been there since 18? Or is that
Possibly.
established? And I like that he's just always sort of like Nicholson in The Shining. Like he's just sort of always been a part of this
Yeah.
structure.
I think there's a lot of Nicholson in his facial expressions. I think he does a lot of Nicholson style stuff with his face.
That is true. Yeah, this is again just a simple. This is sort of like one of those Christmas movies that they make for Hallmark.
It's the plot of Mamma Mia. It is exactly what happens.
It is, isn't it? Um,
This
yeah,
is
this one.
2005, so it's quite an early one. But this is one of the ones where they do a lot of flashbacks. So you actually see them back in the 1960s, slightly
Right.
older than they are in real life. It's really good. So basically, Winston and Jack and Victor could all be, and it's right. It is a funny episode. You see them all how they all have a fling with this young lady, and then it turns out that it's none of them. It's the drunk, the real drunky man. Later, we don't get to see Methadone Mick, but he's a character that's introduced much later. He's a young lad, right? So they tried to, like, when they brought it back, they brought in this young lad called Methadone Mick, and he's kind of a reformed drug addict who occasionally lapses back into drug addiction, but he's also like, the joke is that he's incredibly clever. He's the cleverest person there, and he's like, but he's got no self-control. He's a fun character, but unfortunately, Methadone Mick doesn't pop up in any of these clips.
That is unfortunate. What was I going to say? This one. Yeah, this one's quite normal. This one's quite well. They're all normal, but this one is just he's doing his doing his job basically. Like he doesn't want his job to end. There's not really any comedy out of that.
No. The Boabby in this clip, he's just protesting. He just shows his love of the Klansman. This is his life. This is the place he wants to be in. He'll do anything to save her. And
Yeah, yeah, he does give off that of kind of like begrudging They do in Pixar films a lot. Like it'll be like just a begrudging, crotchety old man or octopus or bear or something, and then it will. But there's warmth in there.
Yes, but they do the double twist in Toy Story 4, right? 'Cause the crotchety old bird, but he's oh no, he's good and then bad. It's just a single twist. Forget that.
Just a regular. They do it in Toy Story 2 as well.
They do it in all the Toy Stories. Clip 7, 2 pints, Tam. Boabby's behind the bar at the Klansman. No, now, states Tam. That is it. What I was about to say to you. He goes to reach into his pocket. Oh no, I've not, he stutters. He starts to pretend that he's left it at home. Bobby reaches under the counter and picks up a shotgun. Oh no, Tam's like, oh no, I don't know if I've got it. Oh no, and this is, I'm guessing this is an early one setting up the character of Tam. Boabby reaches under the counter and does exactly a Mo move and basically points the shotgun directly at Tam. And the crowd goes mad. And Jack and Victor step back as Tam looks sheepish.
Yeah, so I just sent you a picture.
There's a later series, a later episode. Oh yeah, it's exactly the same setup, isn't it? Although yeah, take your sack of $1 sack of
$1
there's Tam's developed a bit later in a couple of good episodes. There's one where I think he fakes his own death. And he's dead, and then they keep seeing Tam appear around the neighborhood because he does a terrible job of faking his own death. He doesn't even move. He just stays in his apartment and then occasionally goes out, and people keep seeing him around the estate. And then the other one is where he gets married, and they're supposed to be in their like 70s. So he gets married, and his wife has twins, and oh no, just has a baby, I think, and it is she's Britain's oldest mother, and so they get famous and they get all these commercials like for like nappies and stuff. But just as the baby's being born, they find out that there's someone like a month older who has a baby, and so they lose everything. It never quite. What's that?
That happens on the Simpsons when they have the octuplets and they get all the stuff, and then just as they get all the stuff, somebody gives birth to 9 babies.
It's literally the same. It's literally the same plot. Oh, still game.
Yes, this was the most sort of wacky clip that you sent. Oh, I looked at because of the shotgun. Like this is the most extreme
thing. Boabby.
It's very sick. It's very like sitcom-y, or like there would be consequences to that happening in the real world.
It doesn't. It's another example of like they do tread the line, but occasionally they do go over it, like the ones I just described. Most I was describing because it's like they never really jump the shark, but things like bringing in Methadone Mick and doing the Tam thing, they kind of like they did push it a little bit further, but they never went full on. Like there was no time travel, there were no aliens.
No. It's pushed it as far as it would go within the realms of reality, which is fine. It's also very funny. And it places him in a different light because he's been sort of like grumpy towards people in every other clip, but he's not necessarily been overly violent. The only violence we've seen was supposed to be staged, and so for him to do this is quite surprising at the end of these clips, but surprising in a fun way, not in a disheartening way.
So we've learned a lot about Boabby. There's lots more to learn about those characters, but here's a surprising amount of Boabby art and media. So the first thing is that people started noticing that Boabby at times can look like Nick Cave, and I won't doubt that. And Boabby, Gavin Mitchell got to some time in the sun when Tory leader, what's his name, Boris Johnson, became prime minister, and Boabby took to social media to say, can we please stop referring to him as some sort of blithering buffoon and call him Boris like he's a non-threatening oaf? This man is a clever, manipulative liar, cheat, and downright dangerous scumbucket.
That does sound very Boabby.
Yeah, Boabby's telling it like it is, isn't it?
It's laced with correctisms.
Gavin, who plays Barman Boabby, branded the new PM a clever, manipulative liar. Was it really only 2019 when Boris Johnson became prime minister? Surely not.
Yeah, because it was all throughout the COVID
Oh, good Lord.
debacle.
Yes, a scumbucket, as Gav referred to them. I liked these pictures from the BBC site of as Still Game was coming back in 20 what did it say, 16 or something like that. Boabby, eyes closed, getting his wig fitted because he doesn't have a lot of hair up top. There's the real Gav. Certainly doesn't have the long flowing mullet locks of Boabby.
And
Just
I bet
nice.
that makes it easier for him to exist in Scotland outside of this character in whatever niche area the still game fans chase him around.
Maybe. A drawing from Richard Gould of a fairly standard Boabby image. No, Richard Gould posted it. It was by the Clyde Valley caricaturist, and it's a nice, fun, fairly serious picture of Boabby.
Yeah, it's nice. It's well rendered. It looks a bit like Jimmy Carr in the face,
Jimmy,
but
Jimmy Carr in the face.
yes, JCIFT. Yeah, it's nice. It is very serious, but it applies to the character. It captures him well. You can tell who it is as long as you've seen Still Game.
As long as you know who Boabby is, you can tell it's Boabby.
Yes,
So if you go to, I did think this would be a short one today.
yes.
I was like, we're
I
definitely
expected
never
it.
going to do more than, we're not going to do much more than 30 minutes on Boabby. Here we
No, yeah,
are, an hour and 20 minutes in.
indeed. He's been worth every second.
Hellwoodoutfitters.com. You can go and you can buy a Boabby the Barman t-shirt. And I do like how everyone spells it Boabby with an A. It's
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I didn't know if it was
Boabby.
Bobby, but
It just helps us non-Scottish people to say his name right. Boabby.
are you saying Boo or Boo Abbey?
Boabby earns for a mere 20 Great British pounds. You can buy a t-shirt that has Boabby on the front saying, "Listen, why don't you stand there like a good wee lassie until I'm ready to serve you, you walloper." And we know what
Great.
happens next to Boabby with such an attitude.
The punch, I forgot to mention the punch of the onto the other guy's stomach that does nothing is also very funny. And
Oh
then
yeah.
it's only in that second that you can see the realization on his face.
Oh my goodness, what have I got myself into, says Boabby.
Great Boabby moment.
Still GameStar praises street art tribute after giant Boabby the Barman mural appears in Cumbernauld. A delighted Gavin Mitchell thanked the artist. So somebody has done a, not a bad picture of Boabby pointing and saying, "You're barred" on the wall in Cumbernauld. I think they did a bunch of them, and I did clip some of them. There's a recurring character who's kind of incredibly ugly. She's got big like wild teeth and stuff, and the joke is everybody ends up like ending up with her, like waking up the next morning with her. It's like she's there's a brilliant mural of her, but I felt it was maybe outside the realms of this podcast, given that we don't even mention the character in passing.
No.
I think she's, I can't even remember who she's the friend of I think Tam's wife, possibly. Anyway,
Yeah, I
this
like
is
that. It's a beautiful Muriel Goldman. It's
beautiful. Back only in 2022, so it's only a couple of years ago. Wabby's still in the
nice.
hearts and minds of the people of Cumbernauld.
And the day after Valentine's Day, which
Okay.
means somebody spent a long Valentine's Day putting up a Boabby on this wall.
So Gavin Mitchell, on the 4th of, I'm guessing he's a Star Wars fan. He himself posted this picture of Bobby-Wan Kenobi, still game. I don't know who made it, but Gavin Mitchell on Twitter posted, "May the 4th be with you. Blessings from Boabby-Wan Kenobi."
Yeah, beautiful.
And
Just the expression is correct.
somebody pointed, "This is not the bunting you're looking for." Bunting referring to naughty parts, I think, in Scotland. He posted a second one of the same day of the Book of Boabby Fett. If anything, it's even better.
It is. He sort of fits better into that second one for some reason. It looks more realistic.
You could absolutely see Boabby being in the Star Wars universe or even the MCU.
Yeah, it would be good if they'd done like a community thing where he was just in the background of in like a cantina scene, but
Yeah.
just has himself in like tattered robes
Come
doing
on,
his
Gav,
like
you can do it. Make a pitch. You can do it.
I-
Here is someone who decided to make a version of Still Game the movie on the Facebook, and they had Nicolas Cage as Boabby the Barman, and not a bad choice at all. Got
Not a
14
bad
likes.
choice. Perhaps a little bit too unhinged. I would go for somebody
Don Cheadle.
Slightly more reserved. But Azaria would definitely be playing Naveed.
Naveed. Yeah.
Cage looks like a Boabby, is the comment.
Naveed, if you are an IT Crowd fan, I believe Naveed is one of the geeks that is on Moss's podcast TV show that he does in his apartment from time to time.
Oh, nice.
Limmy also is in an episode of IT Crowd. He plays the window cleaner, but Boabby unfortunately is not.
Boabby is not. I don't remember Limmy either.
I
Yeah, no,
like
I
the
would have gone
comment
for someone
here
else.
from Louis Fur. Can you read
Yes. Yes, I'll read it again.
it?
Cage looks like a Boabby.
It certainly does, doesn't it?
He's really nailed the point of the post. He's really got this one.
Cage would make a great Boabby in a Hollywood movie version of Still Game.
I can only agree with you, given you have more info.
Here, if you want for a mere $32 US, you can go on Redbubble and buy one of those list t-shirts that say Jack, Victor, Isa, Winston, Tam, Boabby, and Naveed, who I
No,
would argue are the best characters from Still Game.
you may argue that, and I may agree with you. However, this t-shirt seems to be, it goes against the kind of show Still Game seems to be. This is more of a Friends kind of.
Oh yeah, it doesn't fit with the ethos of Still Game. Moving on.
No,
And
but
not a
everybody
single
likes
penny.
lists.
Oh, everyone likes lists. I love lists, but not a penny will go to Tam, Boabby, or Naveed in this
No.
t-shirt. Don't buy it. Now, here's something. Somebody actually went out of their way, and I couldn't find out who done it, but they straight up made the. I don't think it's from the show. I think somebody else made it. This is somebody made a cover of The Adventures of Troy the Gardener, starring Boabby the Barman Taylor. Just wait till you see his bunting.
Yeah, and it's a great sort of like 80s cartoon / realistic poster. And again, its facial expression is the best thing about it.
Oh yeah. He keeps saying that bunting just means like a bit thick, but a bit fat. But vulgar Scottish insults explained. You'll have to do your own research on the specific nature of what bunting is, but this is definitely a Carry On Camping. In fact, to be honest,
Yeah.
It might just have taken a Carry On Camping style movie and changed the face, but kudos if you did this.
Yes, it's a very good image, and again, it's sort of similar to the Star Wars one where it just his face fits. I know it's just a picture; it's not been put onto a different body, Boabby, but he just looks sort of naturally in place.
It's a Confessions of a Window Cleaner style, because like these were very popular in the 1970s.
Oh yes, it's just sort of an old style looking ad in general, like the half cartoon, half realistic.
Yeah, the whole Confessions series was a gem. Are you familiar with the Confessions series? Confessions of a Driving Instructor, Confessions of a Window Cleaner.
I am not.
Starring Robin Asquith. Oh, it was big in the 70s. And here's somebody who's made a homemade version of The Gardener. It was a hot day, and her nights have been cold, starring Boabby as Troy. The Gardener.
Like, just like done on paint with the Comic Sans. Very good.
Yeah. So that's it. That brings us to the end of Still Game Boabby podcast. What have you enjoyed our trip down Boabby Lane?
I have. I've been interested to learn about a new character and a new environment. It's nice to I'm assuming upon watching it I'll learn a lot more about him, but it's good to be able to get a grasp of a character like this in such a short amount of time. I liked him.
Very good.
I think he's funny.
I'm a big fan, and I'm hoping that we get a chance to revisit Still Game many times. But here's a song to play us out.
Exactly. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Stars of stage and screen.
Boabby.
Stars of stage and screen.
Boabby.
Stars of stage and screen.
Troy the Gardener.
So that shouldn't you can make some songs, put some Troy the Gardener songs in here, and all that stuff is going to cut out anyway. So
I will indeed.
Stars of stage and screen.
Boabby, could you tell me about the time Boabby was Troy the Gardener, please?
In the episode titled Fresh Lick,
Season 4, Episode 2 of Still Game, Boabby becomes Troy the Gardener.
as part of his efforts to revitalize the Klansman pub's garden into a stylish beer garden, the regulars Jack and Victor, along with others, Find Boabby's new enthusiastic gardener persona both amusing, absurd. I don't think that's true. I apologize for the mistake. The Troy the gardener persona actually appears in the episode drama of Still Game. In this episode, Boabby decides to try his hand at acting and joins a local amateur dramatics group. He adopts the character Troy the gardener. For a play they on, this leads to plenty of laughs as the regulars at the Klansman tease him mercilessly about his newfound thespian ambitions and his over-the-top portrayal of the gardener. No, it's about porn.
No, it's about porn.
No, it's about porn.
No, it's about porn.
Chatbot will not compute.
He's not Jared, he's not Sydney, he's not Harlem, and he's not Philip, he's not Jonah, he's not Loretta, he's Boabby, he's Boabby, he's Boabby.
Thanks, Brits. Boabby organizes a high-stakes funky game in the Klansman, leading to unexpected outcomes. Age looks like Boabby.
Casio bunting, Boabby decides to give the Klansman a makeover, causing a stir among the regulars. That's right, a couple of clowns go by. Gage looks like Boabby, while the seal fossilized tosses up to now. If used to or evil passing, you'd be extinct. Look who it is, the Methuselah twins. Boabby tries to make a quick buck by selling counterfeit DVDs in the bar. Gage looks like Boabby. Boabby enters a homemade sausage competition, but his efforts are met with skepticism. Don't worry lads, I'll get you a couple of Zimmer frames to lean on. Boabby hosts a chaotic New Year's Eve party at the Klansman, dealing with ballooning patrons. Gage looks like Boabby, looks like Boabby. Can you imagine a Nemo with 3 bluey feet, pub lunch, rest in peace, Larry Rock Flanders?